Hi, everybody, and welcome to the July 21st edition of the Vireo 4 development. I'm Ryan Steens, and I know everybody on this call, so I'm not going to introduce myself anymore. If you're on this call, you likely already know the rules about how this works, so I'm not going to belabor that point either. We are off schedule today because James and Jeremy and I were running around Norman, Oklahoma for the South Central State Fedora Users Group, which was very productive, I'm happy to say. And so thank you so much for calling in on an off day. I know we're off schedule, but a lot of work got done. And so from here, I want to hand it over to Stephanie.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Let's see, we had just a note to those who are here. We do have a new co-chair, is Billy Peterson, so she might be joining us in a little bit, or she's been caught up in a different meeting. But also, I'm very pleased to announce that Chris Starcher is also a new member of the VUG Steering Committee. So it's great to have you here, Chris.
Thank you.
So I think that we're ready to go ahead with the demonstration whenever you're ready, James.
All right, thanks, Stephanie. So we're going to start out today with some cards associated with the student submission side of things. And first one on the list here, VIR 163. As a student, I'd like to see sticky notes for the current step as a quick reference to help me along. So I'll come over to our system here, go ahead and log in with the mock shibboleth, populate my user. I'll go ahead and start a submission. I pre-populated the hierarchy here to help us along. All right, so here's my new submission, and we do see that we are getting the appropriate sticky notes appearing in a formatted way on the side. And if I navigate to steps that don't have them, I don't see them. I see the bright ones on the steps that do have them. So, Stephanie, as product owner, does this meet your expectations for 163, seeing the sticky notes?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. Okay, and now we're going to do several cards in one fell swoop because they all kind of fit together. That's going to be this 164 visual indication of the document being saved. This 252, the field value is actually being saved, so the persistence of the field values to the server side on the submission, so that other users can see them and they're there when you log back in. And then, of course, we have to do this on a particular input, so we're going to go with the easiest one, the input text here, which is one of the many input fields that were implemented on this sprint. So, just to summarize, we want a visual indication of the data being saved, we want the data to get saved, and we would like to be able to input text fields. And one of the implicit bits of functionality for text fields is that we'd like to make them repeatable, and so we're also going to show that while we're at it. So I'll come over to my submission here, and I do have some subjects that I can enter, so I'll go ahead and do that. So, yeah, we saw that little spinner there ever so briefly, and that was the indication that the data was being saved. It persisted pretty fast, so we'll do it once more so you can see it. Watch carefully. Little spinner right there, and there it is. So that's the both the persistence and the repeatability. Voila. Okay, so now to show that it's being persisted, what I'm going to do is just reload the page here. So it's going to fetch the data from the server a second time. And, oh yeah, but it took me to a different page. Okay, so yeah, back to this page. And we see the document data do get persisted. So, all right.
What
And
can should I not be asking about the little red boxes?
oh, yeah, that's, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, actually. That's the deletion of stuff that I put in. So if I don't want that field value anymore, then
Okay.
minus sign. So
That was not intuitive to me, but we'll see. Maybe it's because of the color and stuff, and I guess I'm used to maybe just seeing an X or something.
yeah,
But anyway, we can
certainly up to you.
Okay.
This was on in Vireo 3, so we'll have to make some decisions about the styling.
Right. Okay.
But you just let us know what you'd like to see there. Those little UI tweaks are usually pretty easy to take care of.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so to summarize, it was input text fields, indication of whether they're being saved, and doing the actual saving. So is that going to meet your expectations for 164, the visual indication, 252, the saving, and for the 254, the text fields?
Yes.
All right, and we should be able to do the rest of these pretty quickly, just a variety of different input types. So first of all, 255 input emails. For that, I think I can come over to Chair's contact email. So there is a input email.
Could you,
Meeting
are you,
expectation?
is one of yours is one of those like a verification of that email? Well, not, I'm sorry. So it has to be an email field. What if you didn't have the @ sign in there?
Right, excellent question. And I should say that
Okay.
all this stuff is supposed to be implemented, and if it's not, then that's going to be a bug that we're going to have to work on. So we do ostensibly, you know, like in the large, consider the client-side validation to be complete, but of course bugs can always crop up. But I'm going to go ahead and try this.
That's fine, yeah.
Oh, and Jeremy?
But the field is built to be an email field, so I got it.
We have not done client-side validation for the submissions yet.
Oh, right.
Right.
And excuse me, I should also say that we haven't, since the student submission side was a work in progress, we haven't gone down the path of doing the client-side validation there. And so to see the client-side validation in action, we're going to actually hop over to the admin side to demonstrate that work.
Okay.
So I guess validation aside then, is that going to meet your expectations for the input of emails?
Yes.
All right, and next up we have checkboxes. So I have a lovely checkbox down here that I added. I'll check that. It goes to the server, save that. So, okay for checkboxes?
Yeah, I like what you put there. It's scientifically rigorous, yes or no? Okay.
The required field, yeah. And then we have date time. So come over here and find a date time. Next week, sounds good. Got it persisted. Okay for date times. Well, actually, that was just a date, wasn't it? Yeah, but times are not relevant in terms of the app, so I'm not sure why date time was the...
Okay. Yep. Looks
Okay.
good. Mm-hmm.
That's fine, it's just implicitly, right? Yeah.
And let's see, radio buttons now. We're going to see a controlled vocabulary on that as well. So here is my radio button. I will select one of these. Voila. So it looks good?
Yes, it does. Yep.
All right, just knocking through these. Let's see, telephone number. I can come to the first page, I believe, and see a telephone number in action. Okay, so. All right, persisting phone numbers. Looks good?
Yes.
And then for URL fields, I think is next. Coming again to the document information, and we have this previously published material. So a URL going through there.
Okay.
And next up is text areas. So for that, the abstract is a good candidate. All right, saving and persisting.
Okay.
And finally, on the inputs that we accomplished, we have the select, and this is the drop down with a controlled vocabulary. For that, I can actually go to my document type here and choose what kind of document I have. There we go.
Very good.
All right, pretty easy stuff. Now we're going to move on to the admin side of things. We're going to look at the submission list for the administrators. And the first one here is 277, pagination and sorting with clickable column headers on the submission list so we can facilitate browsing. So I'll come over to my admin console on this side and go to the list. And I see a variety of submissions that have been made on this test server. And I am able to sort on these columns. And as far as pagination, we are able to select different pages and browse through the submissions. So, Stephanie, does that meet your expectations for pagination and sorting with clickable column headers?
Yes.
And then comes some of the nicer functionality that we had with this list in Vireo 3, and that's the ability to customize your columns with a drag and drop interface, and the ability to save those columns so that they're the same when you come back. So what I can do is come over here, customize this view, and perhaps take some things off, put a few things on. We see the table changing behind the scenes there. I can select oh, and while I'm at it, I can just for funsies change this part of the pagination. But save that, and voila. Now to prove that it is actually being persisted, what I can do is reload the page, and I'm going to see my same columns and my same number of things on the page.
Very good. Thank you.
So,
Yep, that looks good.
you're very welcome. All right, so the customizable list being saved. And finally on that, we'd like to be able to revert those custom columns to the defaults in case we want to see what the default column listing is. So I can customize my view again and select default columns. And it takes us back to this default setting that was with Vireo 3. And I'll just mention in passing that some of these columns, the work to populate them is going to get to the metadata, so it's going to be some future work on the list. So does that meet your expectations for reverting to a default on the columns?
Yes.
Okay, so next here we're going to get to some of the validation work that was done. And so we have this 230 that the input widgets need to be form elements, HTML form elements, and that will be demoable by virtue of the fact that we'll be able to press enter on these forms and they'll automatically submit back to the server. So to do this, I'm going to come over to the admin settings, and document types is a very simple place to do this. So I'll add a document type. And now you can take my word for it. I'm pressing enter. Voila. So a bit of a cursory demonstration of kind of some HTML on the back end, but is that going to meet your expectations for using form elements, Stephanie?
I think so. Is that just on the, is that on the admin side or both sides, or? No, the other one was the student side, after they entered something, then they get the little spinner thing to let them know that it's saved.
That's right, yeah, and that UI nicety is not on the admin side, it's only on the student side.
Right, okay. So whenever something is new, something new is added in the admin sign, it's just, you just enter, so, and it saves.
I think that's on the student side too, actually.
I'm sorry?
The student side has, because that came with the validation work, which hasn't been applied to the student side yet, that's not yet in place, but it was set up in such a way as to move in that direction when we do apply validation on the student side.
But they are divs right now, or inputs?
They are forms.
They are forms?
They are forms,
okay.
but yeah, they don't. There's no submit button on them, so it'll be a little bit different. But.
Okay.
I would also like to elaborate that forms allow for actual full form validation, to where the form must be client-side valid to be able to submit it, and that is a functionality of a form field.
Mm-hmm.
I think y'all might have lost me. What was, I think I understand, sorry. Okay, what if, I'm sorry, when you created the new one, is it possible just to click out of it and it's saved? This is sort of a new kind of, this is kind of new. Yeah, if you just clicked out of it, so if someone's just, I don't know what to do. So go ahead and, would that save it as well, if they just clicked out of it? Instead of if they didn't click enter? That's kind of a new behavior.
So I can't click out, as it turns out.
Oh, but you can click create, and it does the same thing.
Right.
Okay, never mind. That's great. That's fantastic. Okay.
So while we're here, there's actually some more functionality to show. So we want to prevent submission of these forms so that we're not trying to send bad requests to the server. We don't want you to be able to submit until the input is validated, and that's actually done with JavaScript, so this is not demoable per se, but it is manifest. This 199 is manifest in the context of 231. So if I come back here, we can see that this create button is not clickable for me. I'm clicking it, but nothing's happening. But if I do put in valid data, the validation does occur on the front end, and now I'm able to click the create button. So those are this 231 and 199 in action. So kind of some detailed stuff on the back end, but as far as it goes, would you say it's meeting expectations?
Yes, I understand it now. So yeah, absolutely.
Great.
I would like to mention that these are implemented everywhere throughout the app except for the current work on submissions, and it is easily extensible into them for design.
Right, and just maybe to close things off here, I will maybe go to the embargo types and so we saw a bit more of the validation on that. And so that's another example of the validation functionality. And we can also see it again on this document type, which has unique constraints. So if I try to type in type 1, for example, that is valid in terms of the text, but I'll try to create it here. The server comes back to me with its validation and says that that name's already been taken. So that's an example of the server-side business validation that's not exactly the same as the client side.
Oh, very good. Go, William.
Indeed.
Was that Jeremy talking a minute ago?
Last developer other than James to speak was William.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Actually, I didn't quite understand what you said, Jeremy, before the last thing that James just demonstrated. Is that what you were kind of talking about? Is like all these different fields? It's not only that if it's something has to be in there, you'll get an error note if you don't put in anything in, but that they're also checking for duplication. Or did you say something else? I totally didn't understand what you said. I'm sorry.
The last thing that I heard was a comment from William, and he was just mentioning the fact that this form validation has been done completely on the administrative side, and we have set it up in such a way that it's easily extensible. So when it comes time to add it to the student side, we should get some gains in the amount of time that it takes to do that based on the work that William did this sprint. But
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I get it. And sorry, I thought that was
no, it's
that
all
was
right.
you talking. So thank you, William. That's great. So all the work you did is going to be applicable and usable when you do it to the student side, something like that, right?
Yes.
Okay. The English version. All right.
All right, and these two cards here, we don't consider them to have been done yet, so we're going to have to defer those into the next sprint. And these last two on the bottom are sort of developer-oriented and not demoable per se. So that actually is going to conclude today's demo.
Wow, I think that is the longest demo to date. So you guys did a tremendous amount of work, and still amazing with a kind of a shortened period that some of you had. So with the conferences, super fantastic. I got to change my screen to see if we have any. If you have any questions, you can stick them in the chat window, please. I guess everyone is good. Or Ryan, are you still there as our
I am
moderator?
still here. I'm question free. So we
is
will.
anyone still here but me?
Yes. I can
so.
sense Chris Starcher out there.
Talk to each other. Alrighty.
So we'll reconvene, I guess.
That does conclude. So we expect to be kind of back on schedule with the next demo in 2 weeks on a Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're at the moment. Then we believe that August 3rd at 2 o'clock will be the next public demo, unless otherwise specified. So. All right, thank you so much. You guys did a fantastic job, and I really look forward to seeing more. Thanks, everyone, for attending today. If you do have any questions or something, you can email me or do whatever, email Ryan, call TDL. Excuse me. So, thank you all.
Thank you. Sorry, my phone was muted and I didn't realize you guys couldn't hear me. But yeah, we will definitely reconvene in 2 weeks, and so we'll see everybody then.
Thanks, Ryan.
Bye bye.
Bye.
All right, thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.